Today's episode of The Republic is brought to you by World of Warplanes. To try out the free-to-play game, just head on over to offergb.com/warplanes.
Game Breaker TV.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to The Republic, episode 168 for January 16th, 2013. Today, coming up on the show, the PTS is getting bombed. BioWare are introducing Team Deathmatch and a win for equality. All that and more, but first, from Massively.com, Mr. Larry Everett, how are you, sir?
I'm good. I'm awake and here.
If you're awake and breathing, I guess that's a good day for Larry. He's
right.
excited when he's awake, breathing, and alive. And Leia.
It's a good day. It's a good day. Any day that you're alive is a good day.
This new live shot of your minion behind you, like I'm gonna be more intrigued by what it looks like he's video editing. Is he video editing?
He is video editing. Yes, he is video editing.
I could tell. Yep. I've got that eye. Well, it helps that I was a video editor for over 12 years, so that helps. But what is he using there? Is that Vegas?
No, he's using Adobe.
Premiere?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
What is he editing?
He does.
This is better than the show.
No, he actually does YouTube Let's Plays, and he just did one with his friend, and he's editing that right now.
What's he? What did he do a Let's Play on? What did he play?
He'd play Portal 2 with co-op. I think it was it a map of that somebody else made?
One map. We did the coordination course, which teaches you the controls. We did the first in-game testing track, and then we did the key.
There you go.
There you go.
Hopefully you heard that.
Gotta do new games. He needs a producer. New games. Gotta do like the game that came out this week. That's the way you get views on the YouTube.
That's right.
You don't talk about old MMOs that came out a couple years ago, have gone free to play, and
wait a second.
Oh, sure. What's his YouTube channel? Let's give him a shout out.
Exo Spades.
EXO Spades.
No, X. The letter X,
XO.
the letter O, and then Spades.
Nice. There you go. I'm gonna watch his stuff.
Check him out. He's also on Twitter too. So
there you go. Follow him up. Right. Gotta do like the banner
now,
side. Nidhogg would have been.
Now he's gonna get bombarded.
Nidhogg would have been a good game for him to do this week. Get on the Nidhogg. That's got some multiplayer. Got to play those indie Steam games. Joining us as well, Laura Williams.
Steam
Laura,
games.
sorry I leave you out.
Hey guys.
I'm totally sucked into.
Yeah, I know. I had to get the cats back out here. Can't compete with Larry's kids.
Can't get the cats. Get anything. She's gonna bring out the costumes next.
Well, you know what? I got those back in the closet over here, so I'll just break that out again.
Speaking of costumes, we got some coming up later in the show. Yeesh. Yeesh. All right, let's talk about so update 2.6 hit the public test realm, which means that the bomber is finally playable in Galactic Starfighter. Have you guys had a chance to play it?
Initially I played it in beta, like the early beta when they had it that time, but I have not I have not been able to get the Q-to-pop, just like Laura hasn't either. We were talking about that just before the show. We can't get the Q-to-pop. I don't know why. Nobody's on Test Center. Everybody right now and get on Test Center after the show, and we'll.
It's literally that dead. Like how long have you waited? Like give me an estimated time.
I'll wait during the day. I mean, see, that's the thing. I think it's my timing. I'm waiting during the day for me personally. I don't know when Laura waited, but I was waiting during the day, and it's just there's apparently just not enough people because it takes 16 people, whatever.
So how long have you sat in? How long have you sat in queue waiting for something like this?
I sat in for a total of 5 hours.
What? What?
Okay, I
5 hours.
I didn't wait that long.
5 hours. You two are the only two apparently on PTS.
Well, right after 2.6 went up, I got on and I was able to get into the new Flashpoint, and I ran that a couple of times.
Yeah.
And then I haven't been able to do anything else since.
That's amazing.
Although I played the bomber in the tutorial for Starfighter, if that counts at all.
Did you have to take Dramamine? Are you okay?
Well, it moves really slow, and as long as I didn't shift the mouse too much, it was kind of like a floating brick. And I couldn't really do anything.
I think that's your move. I think that's your
That's your Starfighter.
Yeah, I have a feeling that the bomber is
bomber.
probably going to be my ship because I can
go.
just plant it somewhere and I'll drop drones.
Wait, but I gotta go back to this PTS thing though, because I'm kind of amazed at this. So, what do you think is a trip? Why is nobody on the PTS? I mean, usually in games, there's at least a pretty decent community of people who are excited enough about the game that when new things get launched there, they want to be the first to see them. It's like the kid in the can. It's like, you know, don't take a cookie out of the cookie jar, and kids just can't help themselves. And MMO players are kind of like that. So there's usually always at least like a decent amount of people on a public test server looking to play this. 5 hours.
I think the biggest complaint that I've heard is that people don't want to have to re-download the entire test center. Like, I guess the download is just really huge, and a lot of people have said to me that
isn't that kind of normal though?
Just don't have the room for it.
But isn't that kind of normal? You usually have 2 installs. You have to have 2 installs.
Yeah, but
the
thing with Tor is you don't have to have 2 complete installs. Like, it's the only thing that you're downloading is Test Center. So you have your main game, and anything that's in the main game doesn't have to re-download. The only thing that has to download is Test Center. So, like, whatever's new from Test Center, you're not downloading whatever.
So now I'm really confused by Laura. So what do you explain to me now what your statement means? Because now you made it. What you were saying sounds like people don't want to download it because it's a whole nother download and install. But Larry's saying that that's not really true.
It's still huge. Sorry.
Yeah, it's still a pretty big download. It's not. I mean, I'm not saying it's like they're re-downloading a whole another game, but it's large enough that I've had people say that they don't want to sit there and go through the download process if they've never downloaded it before to get it to come up just to copy a character over there so that they can test something that's probably not going to get changed and just make it to live.
That's crazy. I can't believe people are not more excited about brand new content being on the public test server.
Well, you know what's? I'm wondering if the case isn't, and somebody said in chat room, is that there's, generally speaking, by the time it hits Test Center, there's not a whole lot of changes. Now, that's not entirely true every time. Like, for instance, I mean, when there's been some PvP changes in the past, but most of those kinds of things seem to happen within, like, the first week or first weekend of Test Center being updated, and then after that, like, barely anybody logs in, and it's kind of frustrating, really, when you're trying to, you know, see what certain things are like and try. And I don't, those guys that are really, you know, gung ho about testing in general, I don't know how they can stand it, you know.
Well, they probably have a set group, and it's like, all right, we're going to go on this night and we're going to test, and they have their full people together, and then they can get on and do something. But I mean, you and I were on the test center trying to run the new Flashpoint, and we couldn't get anybody.
Yeah, we were even begging people on the.
Yeah, we saw people on the fleet, and we were like, please queue up with us. Only to be met with silence and some dude that was opening cartel packs. It was kind of awesome.
That is amazing. Can you queue up? So can you can't, like, are they? So when you, let me just get this straight. So when you download the new content, you have to download that, which could be so large file size. But does it actually create a full second install of the game? So you have to have that much allocated space on your hard drive? No. Okay, so it's. Can you queue for any? But you can't queue for any of the. How do you queue for this stuff? Do you queue from it like within the regular client?
Yeah.
Yeah, the same way that you would queue for it on live.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't even have a separate, like.
There's not a separate launcher or anything. The launcher is the same launcher. You just got to switch.
So, yeah, you just have to switch it over to say that you want to log into the test center rather than
so
logging into the live game.
It's pretty easy. Like, so basically, you're on Fleet, like begging people to go and just like click the tab over to like say, hey, please play.
No, well,
on PTS.
You have to get onto PTS, and but yeah, we're on PTS, and what was really, there was one other guy. Literally, at the time that we did it, there was one other guy on PTS on the Fleet that we were like, hey, queue up.
No, there
So
there
we
were
can
two
go-
people because there were four of us.
Oh.
There were five. Somebody logged off, and then there were four of us.
Alright.
And one of the guys ran by us,
Five
and he was
people.
pulling stuff out of his. I don't know what he was doing something in the mailbox.
And this is for the
And
entire.
the next thing we
North-
know, we're like, queue with us, and he
Now
starts
this was
opening parts out
Imperial
back.
side. Who knows what the Republic side looks like? But this was Imperial side that we were on, and yeah, and the thing.
So you mean there's zero on the other side? You got 5, they got 0. I'm sure of that because everybody wants to be.
Yeah.
Seriously, so that's the entire NA. So on the NA server, at an average time of logging in, you got 4 or 5 people, but you cannot even get a group on public test
No.
server to test something.
Now in contrast, on the first weekend that the patch came out, there were a whole bunch of people on. I mean,
Okay.
there was
Yeah,
there was
yeah. Right after
multiple
it launched, there was a bunch
yeah,
of people.
right after
So
the
people,
the-
so people are dumping in when there's larger patches with new content, but when there's smaller updates like the bomber, they're really not paying too much attention. They're
Well,
just like,
no.
whatever, it's like-
What basically they'll test for a couple of days and then they're done. It's like impossible after the first couple of days. So I guess unless there's another major patch or another major fix put into the PTS, people just don't log in. I don't know. I think they ought to do some wild changes to the PTS constantly, even if they're not going to keep them in the game. Just to get
just
people
do anything to
test over and
entice
over.
people to come over. I mean, yeah, I don't know. All right,
I know at
moving
one
on.
point they were giving titles out for people getting on Test Center and testing things, so maybe they just need to keep doing that.
Number of hours tested. They should start with number of minutes tested. That'll get some people over. So it's like, 60 minutes! You did it! Woo! Ding, ding, ding! Just like go by how many minutes you can actually test. All right. Well, Larry, tell me about it because last week you were pretty happy with the 3 ship classes that were already on live servers. I don't know. Are you still concerned that the bomber is like throwing a spanner in the works?
A spanner, nice. It is definitely throwing something else in there. So that's whether I'm happy about it or not. I'm really undecided at this point. It's like, well, I mean,
You were slightly concerned last week from a balance standpoint.
Well, I am. If you think about the way, if you've been playing for several months a game that has like a sniper, an assault, and a medic. All right, let's say that you're playing a PvP game that has had that 3 combination for the last couple months, and then they go in and hey, we're going to throw in an engineer. That's going to change the face of the game. That's going to change the way the game is played. You just add it. It's definitely putting a pretty big wrench in the cogs. So yeah, I think it. I am concerned about it just because I didn't see the bomber work so well when it was in early beta, and I haven't seen it because I haven't been able to queue up. I haven't seen it work in the recent beta.
That's crazy. So I was going to have a follow-up question that's asked how are the testers reacting to it, but I apparently got only the 2 testers in the entire
That's right.
in the entire SWTOR universe, and neither of you have been able to play it. So there basically is no reaction to the bomber.
No, there were some people that were able to get on and do a little bit, and it was kind of mixed. The consensus from the forums is that generally the bomber is in a pretty good place. It may be a little too hard to kill because it has very heavy shield. Somebody said that it was kind of like more, if you thought about a tank as a spaceship, this was probably what you would find. It's kind of easy to counter because it doesn't move very fast. And they said that there's 2. There's a mine layer that can drop minefields, and then there's another one that can drop drones. They said that those may be a little weak at the moment, so that's something that may need to get buffed a bit, but they said right now it's a pretty good counter. The bomber that drops the drones also dropped something called a hyperspace beacon, which is a respawn
Which is a
point.
column that comes out on Tuesday.
That's
Written
true.
by
It's
Larry.
also Larry's column, but it's going to be a respawn point, and so there is some suspicion that might actually be a little bit overpowered, depending on where the bombers can drop it for people to just respawn into to get back into the match.
That's very standard for FPS games, though. You hide the respawn beacon, and make the other
Oh,
team
and the drones
search
are going
for
to
it
be
and
able to
look for it.
heal. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That should be interesting.
All I know is if I can play a bomber and camp someplace and just throw out drones and drop respawn points so that people can come save me,
your job is
I would
done.
be all about that.
Yeah, I mean they have to be like have some serious defenses though. If they're just if they just move like whales and they just like super slow and they're just super tanky, they just gotta be able to take a lot of damage. So we'll see. Who knows? Nobody can test it. The other thing we're getting, not just the bomber, also getting a new game mode. So were we expecting that? We got Team Deathmatch.
I think so. You can't have space flight without having a straight up deathmatch. It's like meet up at the OK Corral.
But had we heard about this? I think we speculated, wondering about more game modes, but I don't remember us ever actually having any some sort of Team Deathmatch.
Yeah, we predicted it, but we had not got any official word until like the day before the patch notes came up. It was like, hey, guess what? We're having a deathmatch, and everybody cheered. Which is awesome. I'm actually really, really glad for a deathmatch because, like Laura said, I mean, it's expected in a twitchy kind of shooter. You got to have some sort of deathmatch.
I don't assume anybody's been able to play deathmatch
with all those gunships.
Yeah. Go ahead. What was the question?
I don't assume anybody's been able to actually play Team Deathmatch.
I'm assuming somebody has.
Somebody has, maybe by themselves. I don't know. So we don't even know. We hope it's a good addition. Who knows?
It seemed that,
in theory, we all know a Team Deathmatch is. It makes sense. Really weird. One thing that's different about the new mode is that power-ups are going to spawn on the map, right? That's slightly different. How's that going to work? Sounds a bit arcadey.
Well, those kinds of things already exist in ground PvP, so I'm not really surprised to see them. It'll definitely add just another bonus, I guess, or something to add to the mix that may I like it. I'm cool with it. It's a little weird, I agree, but whatever. It's in PvP currently, so I'm not too concerned about it.
And when you pick one up, it's going to have a big announcement saying who got the damage bonus, so everyone will know to turn and target that person.
That's right.
Lara, what's he building back there? Is that like the overlay at the end of the video for people to subscribe? What is that?
I don't know what he was doing. I think it's his. He actually has two people going right now. So he has two people on the screen, and so he's built these little portals, and inside the portals are each of their screens. And then there's words around it.
Larry Everett spawning a little editor. Look at him go. Look at him go. Watch him blossom before your eyes. New feature coming as well. Battle record. It's going to keep track of your lifetime achievements in Galactic Starfighter. And it's going to also have a new detailed scoreboard, which is going to show a ton of information after each match, things like that. Absolutely a great addition, I think, to Starfighter. I think a lot of people have been wanting something like this. What's the reaction been like for this? People just cheering from the stands?
I actually haven't seen any reaction to this, but I would imagine that it's probably going to be pretty positive. I mean, if you look at any of the server forums, you've already got people creating threads to keep track of achievements. And, that's one of the things where they just put the leaderboard up for ranked PvP. So, yeah, I would imagine that this is probably going to have really positive reception.
Always good in the PvP scenario.
Absolutely. I mean, if anybody knows about the Bartle's test and those kinds of things that talk about different types of MMO players, and one of them is the killer, which generally the killer gravitates towards PvP, and one of the things that really promotes that kind of play style is is leaderboards and those kinds of things, ways to show off that, hey, I've just dominated this person.
That's the motivation. That's the carrot.
Exactly. Yeah, and so I'm totally on board with this. I'm hoping also, and because I haven't seen this yet, whether or not it's viewable by everybody else, that's like the extra incentive. Not only can they track it themselves, but people can catch them on the fleet and they can go, hey, look at my achievements and that kind of thing. I think that's awesome. if that's implemented, which I'm sure it is.
Last step also related to Galactic Starfighter. New Flashpoint, co-op drive yards, kind of interesting. Neutral, roll neutral, which is interesting because they want everybody to run it. Is this the Flashpoint that you were able to get 5 people queued up for?
That's one we tried to. I've actually run it. I think Laura's run it a few times as well. And
what do you think? Give me an overview.
It's I'm not sure exactly what to think about it yet.
It was odd.
Yeah, I talked about it in the last Hyperspace Beacon, and it's one of those. Basically, it changes every time you do it. It's slightly different every time you do it, and there's 3 layers to it. You start out in like a hangar, and then the next time you have some random thing. Like I went and I had to do free some prisoners. And then the last level is like a boss of some sort. I fought a Jedi. So yeah, it kind of doesn't feel complete. Like there was a cutscene at the very beginning, kind of explaining what was happening, and then you go into the hangar and you destroy everything in the hangar. You go to the next level, and you go to the last level, and then you're just hanging there. There's no real end to it. It doesn't feel like it's ended. Whenever we killed the Jedi, I was like, okay, what do I do now? Oh, I guess we're done. Okay. That's kind of what it felt like.
Well, the layout, I think, is really kind of strange, too, because typically when you run dungeons, they're sort of a labyrinth in the way that they're set up, and this is really, at least the 2 that I got, you start off in basically a big open room that's sort of sectioned off, and there's random, I don't even know that I could call them bosses, but I guess they're supposed to be the boss mobs scattered around. So you have to clear those out, and then you take an elevator, which all the elevators are broken right now. So you take an elevator, and then you go to the next platform, and I got one that Larry had, and then I also got one that was some kind of giant hangar bay that was open in the middle with multiple levels around the side, and you had to clear those out and stop waves of Republic soldiers from coming in. And then you go to your last level, which is just like an open room with a boss in it. It was also weird that it doesn't actually drop loot. So we were getting some kind of token item. I didn't win any of the rolls, so I don't know what it's used for yet, but everything about it was just strange.
So is this like if people know what the procedurally generated stuff is, that's the big buzzword for 2014 is procedurally generated content, meaning that, like, it builds on the fly and can be different every time. Does it seem like that's what they're doing with this? Or is it just a few different... It almost sounds like the way you're describing it, it's just like 3 big open areas. Like I just am envisioning like some large rooms with some boss mobs scattered around them.
Yeah, that's actually pretty much what it is.
Kind of what it was.
Yeah.
What changes? Just where the boss mobs are and where the placement is, or
the type of open room that you have changes.
But it's just an open room, so it's not like a labyrinth, it's not like a corridor.
Yeah, it's when we say open room, it's not necessarily an open room, but like for instance, the prison one had 2 rooms off to the side and then a center room, but it's not. You're not talking about any. You're not traveling in a linear, path, like cutting through a ship or cutting through corridors, anything like that. Most of them, there's just really short hallways and then rooms, and that's it. Or one big open room, one or the other. So do you think they're testing like the idea of procedurally generated dungeons, and this may be like sort of the first one where it might be just a little bit basic, and they'll expand on it later on? It does seem that way. It does seem very procedurally generated, or at least they're going that direction. Because I think one of the things that they're trying to do, or at least testing out and see what the reaction of the player is are they more likely to do it, or more likely to have more fun if it's kind of different every time and a little bit unpredictable? Yeah, that's why they want to do that type of content, is because it gives replayability to different things where, hey, if I don't know what's around the next corner or things like that, it does get quite difficult, I think, to make that stuff and make it engaging and fun, because they can't tune it as properly to some extent, because they can sort of say like, hey, we can put mobs here, here, and here, and they could randomly be here, here, and here, but when they can, they just have less control over the experience. So
So first crack at this, though, both of you are kind of sort of like squinting at it, being like, it's kind of weird. It's not really.
Well, here's something else that's interesting is this is the first flashpoint that is set for levels 15 to 55.
Ooh.
15 is the earliest level that you can jump in and do this flashpoint at. And it will bolster you so that you have a larger pool of players to pull from to go into this dungeon together. And that's something that's unique from any other flashpoint that's in the game at the moment.
Kind of sounds like they're testing.
The other thing is it
out.
has no hard mode right now.
Kind of sounds like a test bed for something. Kind of sounds like a test bed for future deployment of like others. I don't know. That's what I'm just guessing.
Yeah, it feels that way just a little bit, and I think they're I don't know. I'd like to see this maybe taken to even the next level, because right now the things that are procedurally generated, if you want to call it that, are the level, like each level, not like there's a level and then you go to an elevator, then there's another level. Each one of those levels is random and procedurally generated. So I would maybe take it to the next level and even maybe have certain boss mechanics that are slightly different. But like Laura said, they don't have a hard mode on Test Center yet, so they
don't have it listed as a hard mode at all.
Yeah, so they don't have the full implementation isn't there. So maybe that's part of the full implementation, is that in the hard mode, the boss fights are going to be different.
So when you all ran them though, just did you not see was it truly different every single time?
The first level, in the two that I ran, the first room that you entered was the same both times, and the second room was different. The third room was the same.
Yeah, but the hangar that Laura went to was my first room. So yeah, it'll change. Every level is different.
Interesting. I'd like to know if more people have played it a bunch more. Leave a comment below, because I guess what I'm trying to get at is I'm wondering if is it truly procedurally generated where it's creating something random on the fly every time, or is there just options A, B, C, and D, and then it kind of mixes them up a couple different ways, so that they're kind of preset, but they can kind of mix them up a little bit, but they're not truly randomly generated.
Yeah, I think it's more along the lines of what you mentioned there at the last. I think it's like they have a set number of first rooms and second rooms. Like maybe they have, I don't remember. I think Dolphy actually, if you go to dolphy.net, they actually have them all listed. But it's like 5 different rooms that they have to choose from to be the first and second layer, and then that's randomly put in there, and then the last layer is a random boss.
So what made you guys feel like you were just kind of scratching your heads? Was the randomness kind of not fun, or was it just that they felt unfinished and there was no sort of like conclusion?
I can tell you for me, I don't know if it's just because I'm a slow loader on Test Center, but every time that I got into a group for this, because it's optimized that you don't need, I guess, a full proper group. And the people that I was with went ahead and just started killing stuff. So by the time I got in, half the room was already cleared, and I had missed the little cutscene at the beginning. So I had no idea why I was there, what I was doing, and I was running around trying to catch up with the group. And then you get to the end, and we literally all just kind of stood there, and I was like, is that it? Is there something else? Do we go somewhere else? Is there any sort of, you're finished? I mean, it literally just kind of ends.
Interesting. Well, there you go, BioWare. Because here's your public test realm. I'm getting feedback for you, and I'm pushing down this road to give you some insights, since apparently nobody's playing it on public test servers. So
I do have to say that the big thing that separates this and why for me it felt incomplete was most of the other flashpoints. They have some sort of storyline to go with them, where it feels like some sort of arc, and this one didn't feel that way. It didn't feel like it ended because, I don't know, maybe because Admiral Rankin, who was the woman that talked to you at the beginning, she couldn't tell you, because it's randomly generated. She couldn't tell you, well, at the end you're going to fight this guy or whatever. So it felt like, okay, is this the end? Oh, I guess it is. All right.
All right, well, we'll keep up on that. You talked about the bolstering mechanic. I want to talk a little bit more about bolstering, but first I want to tell you guys about a great deal we got going on with Audible. Love having Audible on as sponsors. If you guys have not checked out Audible's service, you're in luck. I want to hook you guys up with a free 30-day trial and a free audiobook just by going to the URL audible.com/gamebreaker. Just go to that URL, sign up, make an account. You download the app on your iOS device or your Android device, whatever you got, and you pick a free audiobook, absolutely free. You get to use the account free for 30 days and listen to your audiobook. There's tons of Star Wars books on there. We've kind of showed a bunch of them off on the show, but I usually look up the Star Wars The Old Republic books, which there are quite a few on Audible, but there are also the traditional Star Wars books as well. So make sure to get on there and check those out as well. A lot of the Timothy Zahn stuff is on here. Very, very popular stuff. Book 2, Dark Force Rising right here. It is 4.6 stars, over 1,000 ratings.
It's an amazing book, actually.
Almost 15 hours. I would suggest you start with book 1 if you haven't checked out book 1 first. It's also on Audible, so check it out. Like I said, all you got to do, go over to audible.com/gamebreaker, sign up, make an account. If you like the service, you keep it as a monthly service charge. You know, you pay a few bucks every month, and you get credits back to exchange in for books, depending on how many books you go through in a month. 1 book, 2 books, 3 books, things like that. I've been a fan and a subscriber for years. I think it's been like 6 years, long before they were even sponsors. So I'm really happy to have Audible on as a sponsor. Audible.com/gamebreaker. Try it today. I know when you try it, you're going to love it. Check it out, and check out all the Star Wars books they got on there, because they got a bunch of them. All right, so we're talking about the bolster mechanic a little bit. The team actually answered some questions on the bolster mechanic. The combat team jumped in. Fill me in. Where are we at right now? I feel like we're jumping back in time. Is bolster mechanic still not figured out? Is there still issues with this? What's going on?
I don't know. I'm kind of interested as to why they felt that, oh, now is the time to address this, because from what I understand, they addressed it several months back already, and I don't know. I don't know where we sit. I don't think that I personally am not sure that it works the way it should, and maybe there's other people that are like me that are, and this is why they addressed that again. That like, no, this is the way it's supposed to be, and this is the way we intended it. And this, personally, I don't necessarily think it should do what it does. Like, for instance, I don't think it, putting the PvE mods in there. If you have PvE mods, I don't think it should kill your expertise as much as it does. And yeah.
Well, that, yeah.
I think some of it stems from that the PvE weapons right now are best in slot as opposed to the PvP weapons, was a complaint that I saw.
Yeah, so there's some pretty interesting questions here, and that was like the main thing I think people wanted to know, is players wanted to know why mixing PvE and PvP mods on the same item negatively affects bolstering. This is the response they came back with. They said, we specifically wanted to greatly discourage the attempt to mix and match PvE and PvP mods for the best PvP gear. This extra step of no extra expertise if you have any on an item is just a reinforcement of that idea. So I assume then what you're saying, Laura, is that PvE mods are better in PvP?
Well, what they want to try to avoid is the fact that PvE gear has higher stats, higher base stats than PvP gear, because they have to budget for expertise on the PvP gear. And if people were to wear PvE gear and go into PvP and have bolster give them full expertise, obviously they're just going to completely obliterate, and it would be like, why would anybody sit there and waste their time getting PvP gear? They'd be spending all their time saying, well, obviously you have to raid so that you can get the best gear to PvP. And what they're trying to say is, so we don't want that to happen, so we're going to give you a penalty on having PvE gear over a certain level in your PvP pieces, so that people aren't doing that. Except for the fact that right now, PvE weapons are better than PvP weapons.
So wow. Is this like a separate issue? Is this is like it almost sounds like it's like maybe a separate problem?
Yeah. Well, this problem, it's kind of mixed between two things. The problem started when they got rid of the recruit gear, which the recruit gear was a set that you got for free that automatically had a certain amount of expertise already pre-built in, and they totally got rid of that. And what they started doing was they started bolstering the stats of your PvE gear within under a certain level, instead of doing the whole recruit gear thing. And because they started bolstering armor instead of bolstering the character, then it started a whole kind of a downward spiral with issues with bolster. And then on top of that, now this is the first really I've heard that the weapons are now the best in slot, which the PvE weapons being best in slot, and that's already it's just I don't know. This whole bolstering system is just not working. I don't think the way they intended to at all.
Not working as intended. Here was another thing that was interesting. I don't know if we knew this or not, if this was just like an urban legend, but an answer that they confirmed was that bolster is calculated dynamically, like anytime something changes. Was that something we knew, or was that? I think people speculated about this for a long time.
We definitely speculated it. We definitely speculated it, especially considering when people would remove mods or remove stuff and then put it back in while they were in the game, because they used to. What were they doing? They were doing something to give themselves
relics and earpieces and stuff. They were taking it off and then putting it back on, and suddenly they were getting not only a huge burst in stats, but and also a burst in their a boost in their expertise.
Yeah.
More than what they had when they started.
Interesting. I don't know. Well, now at least the urban legend is solved, so it is dynamic. Eric Musco has confirmed that we're going to be getting a roadmap at some point showing what they're going to be working on for the year. No details yet, but we pretty much already know what their main priority is, and that's charging Larry $100 per chat bubble in the cartel market.
No.
What do you guys think? What do you guys think about the whole roadmap stuff? Do you guys like the 6-month or the yearly roadmaps, knowing exactly what's happening? I mean,
I do. I like having, even if they're not pointing out everything that they're specifically going to do, I like having an idea of where the game is going. I like knowing things that I can look forward to in the games. Yeah, I'd be excited, especially since I think we should be hearing something about an expansion soon.
All right, what do you think? You like the roadmaps?
I do, and what's really funny is they kind of set a precedent that we would know way in advance when anything is happening, and then all of a sudden we know nothing. So yeah, I do like it. I like personally, I like about 6 months. 6 months seems to be a good thing, and maybe with we could be heading this direction towards the end of the year, but 6 months is, I think that if you can get a good solid 6-month projection in there, then I'm happy.
252 is up on the live servers, and preferred status players can now play Galactic Starfighter. Have you been killing many noobs? Have you been killing the noobs?
All of them.
All of them?
All the noobs are dead.
How about the new gunship? Patch had a new gunship, right?
Yes.
How did they expand the role?
I like that idea.
Homing sniper shots like we had thought about?
Almost. It was
Whoa,
so
watch
close
out, Leia!
I didn't realize my son was back there. He has to get on camera. That's what it is. All right. So that's almost what it is they are everybody's gonna be watching Zach now.
That's all I can. I can't stare at anything else. I'm waiting for him to just grab a boob or something. Like that's.
So anyway, what they've done is they've made it, instead of having two rail cannons, which rail cannons are the ones that you have are like the sniper cannons. They've put in proton torpedoes, and I am so moving again. Go Zach, go.
And now he's trying to take his clothes off.
No.
So at any rate, they've added proton torpedoes, which is like the missile equivalent to the railgun. So which is not, it doesn't have quite the range, but it does have more of an impact. And this is going to be so distracting.
Damn. So not the homing sniper shots like we'd all hoped for. So, oh well. Last up, BioWare are apparently promoting equality, which is always a good thing with the latest additions to the cartel market. The fact that both of these suck pretty bad shouldn't take away from either. So +1 for equality.
Yeah, side and underboob.
Side and underboob. Remember when I was talking about the ERP stuff that they're just making for Star Wars? Yeah.
Gary, I'm so disappointed that you did not have a picture of the man panty.
Where's that? I don't know. I don't have that. Is that something? Or you mean like for real in real life? Or
for real, there is really a man panty in the game now for all the dudes that have wished that they could wear the female bikini bottom.
Can you send me this? Can I search for this?
It's on. Hold on. I can.
Hang on. I'm gonna search for this. What would I search for? Man panty?
No, it's Jory
Dargaran or something.
Spell that, because I can't spell that.
Jory, Jori, and Daragon.
Let me see what comes up if I just do that. Let's see, images.
If you get an image on Dolphy, you'll get it.
I'm afraid to keep this up on screen just because who knows what will come up.
Who knows what might pop up. Hold on, I'll get.
I totally suggested that all the males in our raid happen to get these underpants. Oh yeah, there it is.
Is this what we're looking at? Yep. This?
Oh, they don't show the. Oh, yeah, they do. Here we go. Yeah, that right there. That's it. That's the one. The one you have selected.
It's kind of I'm looking to see if there's any larger shots of it.
I don't think there is. That's the one.
I don't remember any. Yeah, there's no. I don't remember any men in Star Wars ever wearing anything like this. I don't know.
Nope.
Has that ever happened? Did I miss that? Is that like in the director's cut or something that I didn't see?
No, I don't know. It's hot pants from SWG is what it is.
Yeah, so I totally feel like all of the dudes in our raid should be wearing those and then get the rest of the covert gear, so
ERP.
The man panty.
Gary just turned 12.
ERP. Laura Williams, follow her on Twitter at Void Minx. VOIDMYNX. And of course, right here on the Republic each and every week. Always a pleasure. Larry Everett. Follow him on Twitter at Shadow. Check out his son's YouTube page. What is it again?
XO Spades.
XO Spades. He's going to be more popular than Larry after the show. Everybody's going to go watch his Portal Let's Play.
Yeah.
I'm freaking curious. I can't wait to go see it. All right, follow me at Gary Gannon. Follow Gamebreaker TV at Gamebreaker TV on the Twitter. Go to our Facebook page, facebook.com/Gamebreaker TV. Oh, 2 other quick things. We've got a new show this week. Maybe launched last week, but make sure to check out This Week in Steam. Brand new show on Gamebreaker TV. Go check it out. Episode 2 will be up on Monday. But episode 1 is up, so go check that out This Week in Steam. And one other thing, I don't have time to give the whole story right now, but go to our G Plus page. Go to Gamebreaker TV, scroll down to the bottom where our social stuff is, click on our G Plus page, and definitely link us there and start checking it. We need to do a big push on Google Plus because Facebook can suck it. Because they just want money, money, money. I don't understand it. They like Facebook is. I'll go on a rant someday and make a video about just how Facebook is effing everybody, but basically they suck and they just want money. Every time we post something, they're just like, "Can you give us $500 to put this in front of people who want to see your content, like people who clicked, we like Gamebreaker?" No, F you Facebook, we can't. So basically about 2% of you people see the stuff that we post. So check out G+. I know people aren't used to it. I'm trying to get used to it. I don't use it much, but I'm trying to get it into my daily routine to look at it, because at least they don't charge $1 gajillion or anything actually when we post stuff there for you guys to know that we're actually posting stuff to Gamebreaker. So go on over, check it out. We do the show live on Thursdays at 6. Come on over for the live show. It's always a good time. And we'll see you next week for some more Republic. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great weekend, guys.